The April Fool's Day massacre at the U.S. Post Office. Today, 66% of all rural mail routes dropped their pay scales. Some carriers are losing tens of thousands of dollars of pay per year now. Yes, that chart says that 13,739 routes have lost basically a full day's worth of pay every single week. No, the workload has not decreased. https preview.red.it/edpb99d99 draw1.png. Width equals 1234 and format equals PNG and auto equals WebP and V equals enabled and S equals B64855 F49 DF 17431216 F95 B11 F9980 EO6A8 E8692. This is on purpose. Underfund government agencies, institutions, programs, then use the predictable poor results as a push to privatize. DeJoy did more damage to this country than bin Laden managed. And he was more sickeningly smug about it. Anyone who supports him is an open enemy of the American people. You can guarantee it. Why hasn't the postal union gone on strike? Everyone is asking what the unions will do. Did anyone not see what just happened with the railroad negotiations? It went to Congress and the president's desk and they shoved the companies' contract down the workers' throats. Like literally 90 days ago this happened. This is not surprising to me. Neither party is for the workers. Clearly. This must be a joke. With inflation and cost of living skyrocketing, they are cutting wages? DeJoy's gotta go. Hashtag since it's come up a couple of times now. Posting a deeper explanation in a top-level comment here. Hashtag background. Rural carriers are paid in a curious version of a salary, rather than an hourly wage. NB. City carriers and other postal employees are all normal, hourly workers. Each route has an evaluation, a number of hours that it's worth, regardless of how long it takes to organize and deliver on any particular day. Both parties theoretically benefit by making payment predictable across the year. Even though daily volume varies greatly, the Christmas season is brutal. And Mondays too. While some days you've got almost nothing to deliver. If your route is evaluated at 8 hours, you get paid for 8 hours each day you work it. Whether or actually takes you 4 or 12. That evaluation is created by a large, complex formula that includes the number of addresses on the route, the count of how many letters, magazines, catalogs, small and large parcels, the distances between mailboxes, between park points and delivery points, the amount of walking you do in the office, etc. So a huge amount of all our contract negotiations are focused on the details of that formula. Hashtag now. You need to know that this system just made a huge change with modern-ish technology. Mail used to be counted about once a year, by hand. And physical maps and vehicle mileage used to establish the route distances. This counting was done with the carrier either doing it themselves or being able to observe it being done. Now machines do most of the counting. And new smartphone-based scanners use GPS to record location data and to capture other info like the number of trips between the truck and the delivery point it takes on a particular day at a particular location. And carriers were cut out of the processes that determine their pay. Hashtag this chart shows how many hours in every week were cut, or added, to how many routes. Most rural routes are evaluated at between 8 and 9.5 hours per day. So a route losing 8 or more hours in a week is basically being slashed by a full day's worth of pay. Meaning a loss of pay of more than $15,000, $20,000 a year for some. The details of each route's new evaluations strongly suggest that the post office has played fast and loose with the formula values and the data itself. We know that they unilaterally changed the formula out of contract and refuses to even tell the union what they did. Hashtag notes on overtime. Rural carriers don't usually make any overtime. More like salaried workers. The only way that rurals make OT is by volunteering to carry parts of other routes after they finish their own if other routes are unattended. The post office has been rather negligent in attracting new carriers because of shenanigans like this, and even hostile to new people learning the craft. It's way more complex than I ever have it credit for before doing it. So there are sometimes routes with nobody to organize and carry it. Usually, this means the town postmaster or a clerk carrying it if there's no subs, called RCAs or PTF carriers, to do it, or the mail just sitting there until someone can come deliver it. Regular rural carriers can volunteer to get paid real-time hours to help another route, if, and only if, they're real working hours between their actual work time on that own route, not the evaluation pay hours. Plus their helping hours exceed 60 hours a week, will they get overtime pay? What TF are the unions doing about this? I know postal workers are not allowed to strike, but they could call sick en masse and check out the effects. They are hoping for mass resignations so they can privatize, like Republicans have wanted for a long time. Fire Louis DeJoy. I just wrote my senator everyone should. They need to collectively walk out. Strike. This is the only solution to this. And dare the government to force them back to work. It's all going to plan. They've been trying to privatize this agency for years. If this isn't cause for a general strike, I don't know what is. Time to go all France on this. This has affected someone I know. She took a $15,000 pay cut and is now expected to work 6 days a week instead of 5. Should I take down my mailbox as a protest? I don't want to receive mail from them until they fix pay for the workers. I got a card in the mail recently that the U.S. Postal Service is hiring in my area. $19 an hour. That's a poverty-level income in Denver. CO. The wage to cost of living gap is going to break the United States. So I live in a really rural area. There are about 300 of us and we don't get mail delivery. Instead, we're all forced to pay for P.O. boxes in a tiny little post office where mail is supposed to be dropped off and sorted daily. The building is open 24/7 but is only staffed 304 to 30 p.m. on weekdays. If anything larger than a standard envelope arrives, we have to wait until business hours to pick it up from the counter. It started with USPS firing the counter lady, who was really good at her job and knew all of us. Then they had a different person working the counter every day, and eventually only half the time. It became really difficult to pick up packages because we never knew if someone would be working the counter. Now we've stopped getting mail in our boxes for at least a week. We don't know what to do. The USPS loses money every year, $9.2 billion in 2020. So they either have to raise prices or cut costs. Right now Amazon and FedEx have much better business models and the USPS has changed nothing. It sucks for the workers. But my mail in my area is constantly missing or delivered to the wrong houses. This is neighborhood-wide. Also I get 100% junk mail unless it's something I ordered off Amazon. Just let my mail notification that hits my email be the "come to the post office and get your mail" notification. I'd gladly stop by on my way home from work and pick it up.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.